At 3:54 p.m. on July 23, 2011, paramedic James Patterson found a pulse. Weak. Barely there. But Amy Winehouse was still alive. What happened in the next 72 hours was covered up by her family, her label, and the government. This is the story of how Amy survived, what she revealed, and why the world was told she died anyway. The call came in at 3:47 p.m. Unconscious female, possible overdose, Camden Square. James Patterson and his partner Sarah Mills had responded to Amy's address 3 times before, but this time was different. When they arrived, Amy's bodyguard was performing CPR, tears streaming down his face. "She's gone," he kept saying, but James detected something others missed, a faint heartbeat, one beat every 15 seconds. "She's in metabolic hibernation," James told Sarah. "I've seen this once before. Her body's shutting down to preserve brain function. We have minutes, maybe less." They worked with precision, administering naloxone, performing specialized resuscitation. At 4:03 p.m., Amy gasped. Her eyes opened. She was alive. But what she said next changed everything. "I saw them all, the ones who didn't make it. They sent me back with a message. But here's what nobody knows. Amy didn't just survive. She woke up with knowledge that powerful people would kill to suppress." In the ambulance, Amy was delirious, but speaking clearly about things she couldn't possibly know. She revealed government officials' private conversations, described classified documents about music industry control systems, and most disturbingly, predicted 3 celebrity deaths that would happen in the next year. All correct, all ruled as overdoses, all at age 27. Michael Chen, the emergency physician who treated Amy, later testified in a sealed hearing. She was clinically dead for 7 minutes. When she returned, she knew things. Specific things. She knew my daughter's name. We'd never met before. She knew about my brother's suicide, which I'd told no one. She looked at me and said, "The music industry isn't what you think. It's a machine that feeds on souls, and I've seen the contracts." Amy was placed in a medically induced coma to stabilize her brain function. But even unconscious, strange things happened around her. Electronic devices malfunctioned. Recording equipment picked up voices that weren't there. And 3 nurses independently reported seeing figures standing around her bed, musicians who died young, all seeming to protect her. Wait until you hear what happened when Amy woke up 3 days later, and why her father made the decision that shocked even her doctors. On July 26, 2011, Amy woke up completely lucid, asking for pen and paper. She wrote for 6 hours straight, filling 47 pages with what she called the Truth Symphony. It contained musical notation nobody could initially understand, interwoven with names, dates, and locations. When a cryptographer finally decoded it, they found it was a detailed map of industry corruption, naming executives who deliberately destroyed artists for profit. Mitch Winehouse arrived to find his daughter not just alive but transformed. The addiction was gone. Brain scans showed the neural pathways associated with substance dependence had somehow been reset. Amy was clear-eyed, articulate, and terrified. "Dad, I can't go back to that life," she said. "They'll kill me for what I know now. We need to make them think I'm dead." The conspiracy seemed insane until Amy proved it. She told her father to check his phone for a message that would arrive in exactly 3 minutes from a blocked number. 3 minutes later, it came. "We know she's alive. Choose wisely." Mitch went pale. Amy explained that during her near-death experience, she'd seen the entire network, a web of control that managed talented artists like resources, deliberately pushing some toward destruction for profit. But the most shocking part was when Blake visited, and Amy revealed what she'd learned about their entire relationship. Blake Fielder Civil was allowed 1 visit on July 27th. When he walked in, Amy looked at him with profound sadness. "You never loved me," she said quietly. "You were paid to destroy me. I saw the bank transfers, Blake. Starting from our first meeting, £50,000 to make me fall in love, £100,000 to introduce me to hard drugs, £500,000 to marry me and ensure maximum chaos. Blake broke down, confessing everything. He'd been recruited by people claiming to be music executives who said Amy needed authenticity for her art. They paid him to be her toxic muse, to push her toward the edge. They said you were too stable, Blake sobbed. That your middle-class background wouldn't sell. They needed you broken. I thought I was helping your career. By the time I realized what I'd done, I was in too deep and actually loved you. Amy's response shocked everyone in the room. I forgive you. She explained that during her near-death experience, she'd seen how everyone in her life had been manipulated. Her father pushed to be overbearing. Her mother kept sick and distant. Her friends selected or rejected based on their potential to enable or threaten her stability. We were all puppets, she said. But now I can see the strings. You won't believe what Amy's medical tests revealed. Changes that modern science still can't explain. Dr. Chen ordered comprehensive testing when Amy showed signs of abilities she hadn't had before. She could now hear frequencies beyond normal human range, seeing sound as colors and patterns. When they played her old recordings, she physically recoiled. They're encoded, she gasped. There are subliminal frequencies designed to trigger addiction in listeners. My voice was weaponized without my knowledge. Brain scans revealed unprecedented neural activity. Parts of Amy's brain that had been damaged by years of substance abuse weren't just healed, they were enhanced. She demonstrated perfect pitch, could reproduce any sound after hearing it once, and most remarkably, could predict what song would come on the radio minutes before it played. It's not prediction, Amy explained. I can feel the electromagnetic patterns. Music is planned, programmed, nothing is random. Even more disturbing were the blood tests. Amy's blood contained antibodies for substances she'd never been exposed to, synthetic compounds that wouldn't be discovered by scientists for another 5 years. Her DNA showed subtle alterations, as if her near-death experience had activated dormant genetic sequences. One geneticist who examined the results quit his job the next day, saying only, "Some things shouldn't be possible." But then something unexpected happened when Amy's death was announced to the world. On July 28, 2011, the decision was made. Amy Winehouse would be declared dead. A body double, a Jane Doe who died of an overdose that morning, would be presented as Amy. The real Amy would disappear, given a new identity, a chance at a normal life. But first, she had one condition. She wanted to record one final album, telling the truth about everything. In a secret studio in Scotland, Amy worked for 48 straight hours, recording 27 songs, one for each year of her supposed life. The album, titled After Black, contained everything. The industry's dark secrets, the manipulation, the truth about other artists' deaths, and most importantly, instructions for future musicians on how to survive the machine. The master recordings were split into 7 parts, hidden across the world. As news of Amy's death spread globally, the real Amy watched from a safe house, seeing her own funeral being planned. She wrote letters to everyone she loved, to be delivered years later when it was safe. To her mother, "I'm alive, getting healthy, and I'll find you when it's safe." To her fans, the music was real, even if nothing else was. To future artists, don't let them break you for their profit. The escape plan was perfect, until someone leaked Amy's location, and what happened next required a miracle. On August 1, 2011, 5 days after Amy's official death, armed men surrounded the Scottish safehouse. Someone in the inner circle had betrayed her. Amy had minutes to decide, fight, run, or return to her old life. But she'd prepared for this. During her recovery, she'd recorded an insurance policy, a video confession naming every executive, every crime, every murdered artist, set to upload globally if she didn't enter a code every 24 hours. She walked out to meet them, no longer the broken girl they'd controlled. "Kill me, and the world learns everything," she said. "Let me disappear, and your secrets die with Amy Winehouse." The standoff lasted 3 hours. Phone calls were made to people whose names will never be revealed. Finally they withdrew, but not before delivering a message. Stay dead or everyone you love joins you. Amy was relocated that night to a place known only to 3 people. She left behind her music, her name, her entire identity. But she also left something else, a network of protected artists she'd secretly contacted during her death week, warning them about the industry's tactics, teaching them how to resist. Several major artists suddenly became difficult after July 2011, refusing to follow the destructive paths laid out for them. What happened over the next 5 years will completely change how you see certain global events. Living under the identity of Sarah Brennan, a music teacher in New Zealand, Amy slowly built a new life. She taught children, never performing publicly, always staying in the shadows, but she couldn't stop composing. Every song she wrote was embedded with resistance frequencies, the opposite of what had been done to her music. These songs, shared anonymously online, began reversing the damage in listeners' brains. By 2016, the effect was measurable. Addiction rates among musicians started dropping. Young artists were refusing exploitative contracts. The industry began losing its grip. They knew Amy was behind it, but couldn't find her. Every attempt to locate her failed, because she'd learned to stay completely offline, communicating only through a network of former addicts she'd helped recover, using the knowledge gained during her near-death experience. Then on July 23, 2016, exactly 5 years after her death, something extraordinary happened. Simultaneously, in recording studios across the world, Amy's voice appeared on random tracks being recorded. Not samples or recordings, but her actual voice, singing harmony, adding lyrics that weren't written, warning artists about their contracts. Engineers couldn't explain it. The voice was definitely Amy's, but she was supposedly dead, and the voice knew things about each specific artist that no recording could know. The truth about Amy's current status remains classified at the highest levels, but in 2021, a Freedom of Information request accidentally released one document that wasn't properly redacted. It referenced Subject Butteroo, describing a woman matching Amy's description, who'd been providing intelligence to anti-trafficking organizations, using her knowledge of industry networks to save young artists from exploitation. The document mentioned that Subject Butteroo had undergone a procedure in 2015 that altered her appearance enough to move freely while retaining her vocal cords' unique structure. She'd been spotted in Mumbai, teaching street children music. In Sao Paulo, organizing rehabilitation programs for musicians. In Detroit, establishing an underground network for artists escaping exploitative contracts. But the most remarkable revelation came from a nurse who'd treated Amy during those critical 72 hours after her revival. She revealed that Amy had died multiple times. Each time she returned, she brought back more information, more abilities, more knowledge. It was like she was downloading something from the other side, the nurse said. By the third revival, she wasn't entirely human anymore. She was something evolution hadn't caught up with yet. Today, musicians worldwide report similar experiences. A woman who appears when they're at their lowest, who knows their struggles without being told, who teaches them a special kind of music that heals instead of harms. She never gives her name, but she has a distinctive laugh and a way of humming that sounds familiar. She tells them, Back to Black was about going into darkness. After Black is about finding light on the other side. In 2023, a viral video captured a music teacher in Cambodia, working with trafficking survivors. The woman's face was obscured, but her hands, those distinctive hands with the familiar tattoos, carefully altered but still visible to those who knew where to look, gave her away to sharp-eyed fans. The video was deleted within hours, but not before millions saw it. The comments exploded with theories, but one stood out, posted by an account that existed for only 1 minute. Some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their songs are meant to free others. Let the dead rest. Let the living soar. The account's IP address traced to everywhere and nowhere, bouncing through servers in 27 countries, in 27 seconds before vanishing. Blake Fielder Civil, now clean and living quietly, was asked about the video. He smiled sadly and said, If angels walk among us, they probably teach music to broken children and hide from the spotlight that once burned them. When pressed further, he added, "The Amy I knew died on July 23, 2011. But maybe something better was born." Mitch Winehouse, when questioned about the conspiracy theories suggesting Amy survived, always gives the same response: "My daughter is at peace." But those close to him note he still sets a place for her at family dinners, and sometimes receives calls that make him cry with joy, though he never explains who they're from. The music industry underwent massive reforms starting in 2012, with new protections for young artists, mandatory mental health support, and mysterious leaks that exposed executive corruption. Every leaked document had the same watermark when analyzed under special light: a tiny bird escaping from a broken cage, with the number 27 written in its wings. Whether Amy Winehouse survived that day in July 2011, or truly died as reported, one thing is certain: something fundamental changed in the fabric of the music industry. Young artists stopped dying at 27. The curse was broken, and sometimes, in recording studios late at night, engineers report hearing a familiar voice singing harmony on tracks, adding words of encouragement, leaving behind frequencies that heal instead of harm. The official story remains that Amy Winehouse died on July 23, 2011. But official stories, as Amy herself once sang, are often just convenient lies we tell ourselves to avoid facing uncomfortable truths. The real question isn't whether Amy survived, it's whether we're ready to hear what she learned during those 7 minutes on the other side, and whether we're brave enough to act on that knowledge. Some say, if you play Back to Black backwards at 3:54 p.m. on July 23rd, you'll hear a hidden message recorded after her supposed death. "I'm still singing, just on frequencies you're not ready to hear. When the world is ready for the truth, I'll come back to black. Until then, I'm living after black, teaching others to do the same. Love is not a losing game if you know who's playing."